বিএনএ নিউজ, সবার সাথে সবার পাশে।
Preface to another chapter, the NMC. This Indian Medical Council Amendment Bill 2019 is to repeal the ordinance promulgated by Mahamahim Rashtrapati Ji on the 12th of January 2019. This bill has also been scrutinized by the department-related Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare. This is not the first related ordinance. There has been one in 2010, one in 2018, one in 2019. Let me clarify first. My party, All India Trinamool Congress, is always against the attitude of attempt to bypass the elected House of People and pass ordinance. In the last few years, we have seen 10-4 ratio, 10 bills to 4 ordinances, whereas after independence, every 30 years saw only 1 ordinance to 10 bills, and in the next 30 years, we saw only 2 ordinances to 10 bills. It is undemocratic and it is unhealthy for our democracy. Anyway, the question is why the bill allowed to lapse several times from 2016 in such a serious matter, which has seen many deaths, in particularly more than 50 deaths in only one state of our nation. So I consider it my sacrosanct duty as a responsible opposition to sound out to the government that passing out of ordinance is a peril. Formulated the first Indian Medical Council Act in 1956, but thereafter rampant all-pervasive corruption had crept in, where Medical Council was plagued by it. The functions of the Medical Council mentioned thereof was to make recommendations to the central government in matter of recognition for the medical institutions, determine the course of study, examination of study at the end of the syllabus, inspection of the examination and maintenance of the register for the medical practitioners. But as per the Constitution, in the 7th Schedule, Article 246, List 2, health is a state subject, and central government should not formulate rules to interfere to this provision of empowerment of the state. This bill deals with the fate of those whose face we see first when we are born and the last when we die, the doctors. A former HRD minister, if I may quote, contradicted the Darwin's theory of evolution, stating that none of our ancestors have seen an ape turn into a man. Madam, such statements are not only dangerous but highly irresponsible, as the very fundamental principles which consider the medical science have been built are shattered. It has been stated, and I quote, "Cancer is the result of past life sins and a form of divine retribution." It is ridiculous. Some have stated that cow urine or gomutra can cure cancer. That is absolutely against the present scientific standard of research all over the world. The Vice Chancellor of a state university claimed that test tube baby technology existed in ancient India and referred to the Kauravas. According to the Indian Constitution, the development of scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform is the duty of every citizen and implicitly the responsibility of the state. So the state should take cognizance of this fact. However, it is highly unfortunate that irresponsible statements have been made by individuals holding high public offices which attack the very basis of medicine. Though we agree that India has a very rich cultural heritage, the history of medical sciences, be it through Charak Samhita in the 200 BC or the Shushruta Samhita. Shushruta was known as the master of surgeries in India in the 13th century. But we've come a long way from that. Today we have the stem cell research of medicated coronary stents, of in vitro fertilization, of pre-implantation, of modern development like stem cell research, medicated coronary stents, in vitro fertilization, pre-implantation, genetic counseling. Today's modern medicine is very, very strong. The inspiration doctors get is from practitioners like Leonid Rogozov a Soviet GP who performed on his 6th Antarctic expedition, he had the strength to perform appendectomy on himself alone when he was stationed in the Arctic in the Novorossiysk camp. So the doctors, they are not Kathputli or puppets. A 16 or 17-year-old forgoes movies with friends, family reunions, shopping sprees with mother to sit and study for 16 to 18 hours a day to crack the medical entrance examination. And students of our varied country with multiple linguistic areas, regional sentiments, they should be allowed to sit for the exams in their mother tongue in which they are proficient. And the national eligibility exam has seen depth, in which particularly I may quote in Tamil Nadu, a girl, a topper committed suicide because she couldn't crack the NEET. So what we suggest that so many deaths should be prevented. We should do away with this entrance test. We should depend on the class 12 qualifying examination marks to get entrance into the medical depending upon the quality of the results. Because the students study very hard for this. They study 12 hours a day for 6 hours to become a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Science, MBBS as it's called. Can this rigorous 6 years be diluted by a 6 months abridged course of a quack? For the clinical training, many junior doctors perform emergency surgeries throughout the day and night, and being also a human being, they feel tired. So they sleep on the Macintosh which we wear while we are doing the operative procedures on the floor of the OT. I don't know any other professional who sleeps on the floor of his office just in the performance of duty. Doctors are nearly gods. An accepted mortality rate is there in the statistics of medical science. But in India, today when a moribund patient expires, the family of the patient have the gall to beat him and hurt the healers. Not unusual in this Lynchistan of ochlocracy. This is condemnable. Socrates once asked, tell me, is a doctor in the precise sense a moneymaker or someone who treats the sick? And Plato remarked, is the practice of medicine a science, an art, a trade, a craft, a business, a profession, or combination thereof? Well, a doctor nearly for 10 years after back-breaking training is a godly figure. But to run his family and himself, he requires money. So he should not be blamed for earning. His life, property, and personal safety should be looked after by the state, by the government. Security funds should be increased, and budgetary allocation for the medical curriculum should be increased, where in the country we have less than 2% of the budgetary allocation for medicine. And no other than Arvind Panagadiyaji had commented that the rural health care in India faces crisis unmatched by any other sector. So instead of trying to enhance the budgetary allocation, we are trying to rein in the doctors. I agree that the MCI has been very, very corrupt. People have been, the officers have been arrested. We know this. It was actually, so to say, there was all-pervasive rampant corruption by medical mass. But we should not overrun the state government's responsibility, because health is a state subject. It should remain with the state, and this should not be a nomination. And when it is quoted that people in the nominated body or board will be medical education or proven administrative quality. Though I agree, administration is required to run the back office, but administrative quality holders will not know the scientific nuances, will not know the cutting-edge technology, will not know the science of the medical fraternity. So it should be by medical people only, and it should be through election process in all the branches of the state. The doctors should be allowed to elect their chosen members who will come and form the central body. The bureaucrats will know they have no quality at all to run the medical council, because the bureaucrats have no idea as to the cutting-edge technology. So, just 1 minute, madam. Raising the number of your time, Ms. Ghosh. From 1 minute, madam. The raising the number of the members from 7 to 12 is a ridiculous, because if unqualified people, they are there in a number of 120 or 2,000, they will not be able to take these decisions as to the medical curriculum, as to the examination, and there has to be inclusion of